Welcome to Power Across Texas Energy Leaders Forum, and today we have with us Larry Weis, the head of Austin Energy. So Larry, thanks for being with us, and wanted to have you tell not only the ratepayers of Austin, but also interested folks around the state what's going on with Austin Energy. You've been here with Austin Energy now for almost 9 months. And as a relatively new general manager, can you tell me a little bit about how your background and experiences have prepared you to be general manager of Austin Energy?
Well, thank you, Becky. Well, first of all, I've been in the electric power industry and water as well, but I've been primarily in electric power industry since from a pretty young age in the early 80s, and so 30 years. And I started in public utilities in Washington State, went up through the ranks to mid-management at a large utility, and then became a general manager of a small utility. Sort of learned that, and then for the last 20 years I've been reporting to an elected board in public power, the last 10 years of which was at TID in California.
You've seen a lot of change undoubtedly, and one of the changes over that time has been the more recent exuberance for green energy. Austin is well known throughout the nation as being a leader in green energy investment. How would you as general manager balance the interest in green energy in Austin with the desire of the ratepayers for affordable energy?
Okay, great question. Well, as we acquire renewable resources and move to a portfolio where we have 35% of our power supply for our consumers will come from renewable resources, we're acquiring those resources with financial caution to make sure that we don't have any rate shock, that we acquire these resources as we do any other generation resource, whether it be a wind project or a solar project that we acquire. We're going to stage those in. We have to be careful how fast we go to make sure that we don't have any rate impacts. When I went to the City Council to get approval for our generation plan and how do we track our affordability, basically there's 3 milestones that we're set up for. One of them is our goal is to have 35% by 2020. If we have too big a rate shock to get there by 2020, then we may have to shift the year out a little bit. So I created some flexibility. What I anticipated coming in here is that flexibility wasn't built in. So in a sense, I really had to go get that flexibility from the council so that we would not have a rate shock to the consumers. I'm confident that we can meet the goal.
Today, as far as affordable rates, one of the components of Austin Energy's rates relates to nuclear energy. And can you tell us a little bit about how much nuclear energy plays in Austin Energy's fuel portfolio, and also what are the prospects for more nuclear energy for Austin, if at all?
Yeah, so the exact percentage of nuclear is around 20% of our energy comes from nuclear power, and it's a baseload facility. We're a partner in the South Texas project. Now the question is, to go get some more, you have to repeat again that heavy capital intensive acquisition. Right now we haven't planned on adding any more base load resource other than what we have currently in some additional natural gas. So we haven't engaged on trying to fill a base resource acquisition need, but we remain open to the resource. I feel personally that nuclear has a strong future in the United States.
Let me switch a little bit now to coal. And there's been discussion or rumors that Austin Energy is wanting to divest itself in some form or fashion from the Fayette coal plant. Can you tell us what the future may be for Fayette coal plant, given the fact that it has an impact on Austin with GHG emissions?
We've put some significant investments into scrubbers and to other technology to try to reduce those emissions and meet the EPA standards that are out there. Right now, my strategy is, with the renewables that we just talked about and the financial pressure of adding those, my strategy right now is to keep Fayette in the mix for resources until we have a really good defined financial and acquisition strategy for the renewables. When I see that that's clear and I know what the impacts of that will be, we can start working on a strategy of what to do with the Fayette Power Plant.
What impact does
Fayette have
units 1 and 2 on GHG emissions in Austin?
Yeah, it would be a significant impact. So if you measure this, if you take Austin Energy, fit it in with the city, Austin Energy is a huge amount of the city's emissions. It's a very large percentage. And then the Fayette Power Plant is a large percentage of Austin Energy. So it gets us a long ways towards meeting the goal.
Have you thought about the future for yourself in Austin Energy, and thought about, what would you want to be your lasting impact at Austin Energy at some point that you see Austin Energy in your rearview mirror?
What really interested me in the position were all the challenges. There were a significant number of challenges here. A climate protection plan, a generation plan that had really been vetted in the public a lot. And that's quite unusual. It's to have that much public involvement in designing where they think all the new generation is going to come from in the future. So my goal is to take all these challenges and solve them.
And lastly, tell me if there is one thing that you can share with the general public about Larry Weis. What would you want them to know about you?
Well, that here I am in a suit and tie, but I'm really kind of a cowboy kid from eastern Washington. I spent a lot of time in the mountains. I've done climbing all over North America, but I've gotten older, don't do that anymore too much. So I have a lot of varied interests. And I think that's the one thing they may not know here. And I know when I got the job here, they said, "Oh, here's another Californian." Well, I'm really from Washington State, and I worked in California the last 10 years. That's my official line for that.